All right, y'all. The trade deadline is passed. Thanks to all of you that have been watching all the videos I've put out today. It's been a long day, but you know what? The dust is starting to settle a little bit, so it's time to kind of conglomerate everything and get a couple final thoughts out here. This video is mainly to go over all the points that I didn't really get to touch in a bigger video, just because I thought they were a little more minor or whatever. But I think there's still a lot to talk about, and we can kind of look ahead the next couple weeks to see how all these last minute moves are going to work themselves out. And another thing, there wasn't like a big trade during this deadline, which in all honesty, I didn't expect. I think a lot of teams are scared of that new like luxury apron and everything. So not surprised something like that didn't happen. I think those are going to be more so off-season moves if they happen, and that it might just discourage like star players getting traded a little more in general, which is what the NBA wants. So that's a good thing. And also just I hate the Bulls, man. The Bulls make me so mad. I'm such a loyal fan. They just ruin everything. They were the worst today, just the worst. So there's that. Let's go talk about some other things that happened today. All right, so we're just going to spend a little bit of time on all of these little topics, and I addressed this in like comments and stuff, but the Sixers did trade Daniel House for a second-round pick to the Pistons. The Pistons then cut Daniel House. My business partner actually is the guy that trained Daniel House for a long time before he got into the NBA, so I've talked to him a couple times. But he's going to be a dude that's high on the buyout market, wing that can be 3-and-D and everything. Yeah, a lot of teams going to want him. I'd expect Phoenix and like Dallas already at his door and everything, maybe like a Denver too or something. If you're a contender, you're going to be looking at Daniel House unless you're the Sixers, because they literally can't go sign him. But just an interesting little one to note there. The Nets cut Harry Giles. The Nets made a lot of little moves today. They didn't end up trading Dorian Finney-Smith, which was interesting. Apparently, they kind of fumbled the bag with that one, and they acquired like some draft assets for like Royce O'Neal and stuff. They brought in like Dennis Schroeder, got rid of some expiring contracts for guys that they can keep as assets for a little bit longer. And Harry Giles is going to be one of those guys that doesn't really get to stick around. I actually coached with a guy that coached Harry Giles in high school and stuff. So I just always like pointing out the little connections I have when I can. But yeah, I coached with that guy in college and everything. And apparently Harry Giles is a great dude. Fortunately, been pretty banged up his whole career. Don't see him getting picked up. Spurs trading Doug McDermott to the Pacers. This one maybe could have been its own video. Essentially, they got Marcus Morris as a part of the Buddy Hield trade, and then they swapped Doug McDermott for Marcus Morris. It looks like 2 second-round picks in cash will also go there. This is a nice little move for the Pacers, who lost Buddy Hield. They lost that lethal shooter in Hield, and you bring in Doug McDermott, who is a little more dynamic of a player than Buddy Hield. Like, he likes to take it off the dribble sometimes. Like, if he gets going, like his first couple shots from three, you'll see him kind of rip back towards the rim because he's 6'8" and he can get there, and he's strong enough. A little bit better defender than Hield as well, but not quite as good of a shooter, but still one of those like A-tier shooters. So that's good. They need guys like that around Halliburton and guys like Siakam. So yeah, he'll be a nice rotation piece for them. It looks like Marcus Morris will be bought out, and somebody will probably pick up Marcus Morris. He won't be like one of the A-tier buyout market dudes, but somebody will take him. And the Spurs got some assets for Doug McDermott, who I maybe would have liked to see him stay on the team, but I guess Cedi Osman and him kind of do the same thing anyway. But you know what? That's okay. Got some assets. The Bucks deal Robin Lopez to the Kings. Yeah, it looks like basically the Bucks paid the Kings to just take Robin Lopez off his hand. Yeah, it says the cost-cutting move by Milwaukee will open up a roster spot and save it $8.6 million in luxury tax penalties. That's because there's like compound interest in the NBA. If you're in the luxury tax 1 year, they penalize you for being in it in multiple years by building that tax upon itself to try and discourage super teams from like being in power for too long and everything, which I personally think is a good thing. I think it makes the NBA more interesting. Unfortunately, this means Robin and Brooke aren't together on the same team, and that kind of sucks. But yeah, he was on a veteran deal, and so you didn't have to match any salaries or anything. The Kings had an open roster spot, so we'll see if he actually remains on the team or if he gets bought out or something like that. I don't know if somebody would pick him up again afterwards, but that's the move. But the Bucks now have an open roster spot to play in that buyout market. The Celtics are adding a little bit more to their bench as well. This was kind of an odd one. Jaden Springer being sent there for a second-round pick. It looks like it'll either be the Bulls or the Knicks pick in 2024. So do with that as you will. It looks like the Sixers kind of collected on a couple second-round picks, maybe to help them make some more moves in the offseason or something like that. And an interesting point they note here is now Embiid will be the only player on Philadelphia's roster with a guaranteed contract for 2024. It's been a long day. 2025. So a lot of flexibility going on here. Obviously, Maxi's going to come back. Maybe they try to re-sign Tobias Harris and everything, but maybe they do a sign and trade or something. Who knows? There's a lot of flexibility there. And the Celtics, I guess, just bring in another guard to come in. He's a beefier guard, which isn't exactly something that they have. So that's kind of interesting. He hasn't been very efficient, but he's had some good moments like in recent games for the Sixers. So that's been kind of cool. Raptors waive Spencer Dinwiddie, not one that I saw coming, but once they explained the math to me, that makes sense. In essence, they save quite a bit of money by just waiving him, and he's going to be one of the hot names on the buyout market, right? I would imagine the Warriors are going to be all over him, the Nuggets, like, again, all the contending teams are going to be after him because he's a nice secondary ball handler, a nice secondary distributor. That's what he's been best at in his career. I cannot talk at this point in the day, y'all. I'm so sorry. But his catch and shoot numbers have always been very respectable and everything. He's a bigger guard, so defensively he should be fine. Like, the shooting numbers haven't been great for him this year, but there was a slight uptick once people started to criticize his laziness a little bit more. And I like to think once he gets back on a contending team, you're probably going to see an uptick in those numbers again. Maybe he enjoyed playing in Dallas, apparently, so maybe they go and pick him up there or something. That could be an interesting move. Celtics trading Delano Banton to the Trailblazers. It looks like Boston will receive a top 55 protected second round pick. Yeah, so it's just a salary dump. Celtics didn't want him anymore. I actually like Delano Banton a lot. I had some experience in college against him. I actually thought he would have been a rotation player for them, but I was wrong about that. He just couldn't find a way onto the team. He's a nice like ball handler at 6'9", and he can do a lot of things. He's a really good passer and everything. He's a pretty solid defender, but offensively, he's kind of just limited to transition points. And so I guess that's more so what it is. But it looks like the Celtics are just trying to use this to make sure that they can keep open roster spots to play in the buyout market like all these contending teams are. The Mavs acquired this 2024 first-round pick. So I talked about earlier in the PJ Washington for Grant Williams swap that I figured those were the picks that they were moving, even though I already knew that something was coming from the Thunder. I was just like, oh, maybe that just fell through or something. In essence, the Mavs and the Thunder have a pick swap now in 2028, so that whoever basically has the better pick, like the Thunder, is going to get that pick now. So the Mavs might move back in the draft a little bit in 2028, but they got that first round pick from the Thunder to go send over for Daniel Gafford. I think that's fine. I think that doesn't really change my opinion on the trade at all. I think it's still a great trade. Makes a lot of sense to me. This is a very small trade. The Clippers acquire the draft rights to Ishmael Kamagate. Not familiar with his game at all. He was the 46th pick in the 2022 draft. That's why I'm not familiar with him. Essentially, the Nuggets got paid so that the Clippers could have his rights. So yeah, Grizzlies waived Victor Oladipo. We kind of figured this would happen. It doesn't look like Oladipo is going to be able to play this year. It's just not worth having a roster spot with him on it right now. They can go pick someone else up because they're so depleted on their roster in general. The whole Victor Oladipo getting to Memphis was a part of the Steven Adams move, and so we'll see if Oladipo ever gets to play in the NBA again. It's really sad that this happens to him. He apparently works really, really hard. So hopefully we get to see Oladipo back in the NBA. Pacers to acquire and waive Corey Joseph. Yeah, the Warriors basically just cleared a roster spot by moving Corey Joseph. I never understood why he was on the team in the first place. The Warriors, like, I'm not going to lie, like, they get a lot of credit for, like, a lot of the moves they've made in, like, recent years, especially during the dynasty years, but, like, they've also just had some weird moves, and Corey Joseph was one of those to me. Like, I get they didn't think Pods was going to be that good that fast, but it's still, like, go get, like, a big man or something on the roster or something. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, I know they were trying to bring in Caruso and everything, and the Bulls were being stupid, and they were like, we want Kuminga. And it's like, what the hell? Like, what are you smoking, Chicago? Like, I say this as a Bulls fan, so, but you guys know that. And yeah, so basically the Pacers just got paid to take Corey Joseph's money for the rest of the year and cut him. And now the Warriors have an open roster spot to go sign someone to help them be in contention now. Wouldn't be surprised if that guy turns out to be like a Spencer Dinwiddie or something. No deadline deals involving the Lakers, Cavs, Hawks, Bulls, or others. There's nothing else to discuss here. I just wanted to say that. Nets are waiving Thaddeus Young. That might be a guy that's interesting in the buyout market. The thing is, like, he's not going to be a rotational piece. Still a quality basketball player, but I wouldn't be surprised because people love Thaddeus Young, and he is like a really nice, like, hub kind of guy that you can run an offense through. Like, he's really good at operating an offense. He's a decent enough ball handler at his size. He's not going to be an elite scorer or anything like that, and he is 35 years old. But, you know, the Nets were like, we acquired so many people today. We got to move somebody. You weren't on the team already, Thad. Easiest to cut you. Sorry, it's time to go. Pistons waive Joe Harris. Again, I talked about this in some comments and stuff with some of you guys, and thank you all for commenting. Please keep doing it. I love the comments. Joe Harris hasn't been the lethal shooter that we're used to seeing and everything. He's been dealing with a lot of ankle problems, and for those of you that don't play basketball, I guess, like, you need your ankles to shoot. And so that's just what it is. We'll see if he convinces somebody to pick him up, because when Joe Harris is Joe Harris, man, that dude don't miss. Like, that dude is a shooter. So you throw him on a good team with a guy like, oh yeah, it even says here, like, Detroit most likely, like, they've already waived Daniel House. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they waive like a Shake Milton and a Troy Brown too. Shake Milton's probably another guy that could be on a contending team's roster. At least I think so, because historically he's been pretty good. Throw him on some championship teams as just a floor spacer. I'm looking at you, Denver Nuggets or something. I'm looking at you, like, Philadelphia 76ers or something like that. I don't know. Maybe the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves could use a shooter. They could use Joe Harris. Ooh, because they already got their backup point guard now in Monte Morris. I'm rooting for that one. I like that one. Pistons wave Killian Hayes. Yeah, all the jokes can finally end. Like, I think I've said before on the channel, I recruited a guy that played with Killian in high school or whatever, and I remember him being like, do you think Killian Hayes is, like, not that good of an NBA player? And I was like, no, he's really not at all. I have no idea why people picked this guy this high. And, you know, people are wrong all the time about things like that, but I did not see any of it. And, like, he just is not a good NBA player, man. I don't know. Like, it feels like a Cameron Payne situation or something, where it's like, except he got taken even higher. Like, I never understood what people saw in him. They're like, yeah, he's a pretty solid passer and everything. I'm like, I don't know, like, why people think that. I don't know. I don't see it. It's whatever, though. We wish Killian Hayes the best. Hopefully he finds another role somewhere else or something. I doubt he gets picked up by an NBA team this year. He probably goes overseas for a little bit, but maybe he comes back and he has a Dante Exum type moment. I don't know. Oh, one last note, though. How bad is it to be cut by the Pistons? That sucks. And looks like that's about it. Yeah, those are kind of the last minute things I wanted to touch on for the trade deadline and everything. Thank you guys so much for the love today and everything. Please continue to comment, subscribe, like, things like that. This will be my 10th video I posted today. I run 2 other companies and stuff and do consulting and other things, and I try to just be a healthy person. Like, I still haven't gone and worked out and stuff today, and I'm not asking for, like, sympathy or anything. Just know that, like, I put a lot of effort into this stuff today, and I'd really like to be able to interact with you guys about it, because I'm really passionate about it. So leave a comment, like, tell me you don't agree with me or you do agree with me. Like, I want to talk about it. So leave those comments for me. I want to see them, and let's keep growing this thing, man. Let me know what you guys want to see. I'll probably do like a winners losers thing tomorrow for people. That's what I'm thinking, and that'll probably replace Saturday's video. And spoiler alert, the Bulls are the fucking losers. They are. It's the Bulls. The Bulls lost. But yeah, otherwise, that's all I got for today, y'all. Thanks so much for everything. We'll talk to y'all later.